Yesterday, I spoke a little bit about how we are playing this game with ourselves, this mental story of thoughts, and how that is creating our whole experience of life. So, we are not victims then to our experience. We can have little and be very satisfied. We can have a lot and be very miserable. We can have a very enjoyable life to perceived, you know, for someone seeing this, thinking, wow, what a life. And the person living it is miserable. So the bottom line with this is that there is no good and bad life, and your experience of it is your way of interpreting and your mind judging it and perceiving it a certain way. So you're free in this way. There is no good and bad, but your perception of it. And so from this point, the freedom, the liberation of, the perception of life through just being in whatever is, to stop thinking and judging and labeling everything as something, just like detach from it and just acknowledge and recognize it is what it is. It's like whatever is, whatever, you know. I don't have to spend all my energy and attention and time in liking or disliking and labeling and, sorting and thinking and, about what is or what was actually, because this mental process is always about what just happened, right? It is not about what is coming, because no one knows what is coming. So it is about what just happened, or even what happened quite a long time ago. So it's only like judging the past, you know? And all our problems, the same thing. It's about the past. But I mean, the past doesn't exist even. The past doesn't even exist. The past, our ability to even have an idea of the past is because we have the ability to memorize. But our memory is often subjective and as well a bit, unique. It's not really maybe what was actually, but it's our interpretation of what was. And then we say we didn't like that. So we create problems, resistance to what was, We say, oh, I didn't like my own behavior in that situation, or I didn't like his behavior in that situation, or I didn't like what happened then, I would like it to be this way, or, we are having this total mental, like the mind is communicating with itself, having this story with itself, judging and having this resistance to. So it's in, I think you can see the major like mistake to spend your attention listening to the mind having this discussion or projection story with itself about the past that doesn't even exist. you know it's a mental story of what was, and you know judging and thinking about that. But when you detach, when you zoom out, what actually is only this moment. It's a never ending ongoing moment, the never ending ongoing now. Now, now, there is beyond time, even there is only this moment. you know so when we talk about future and past, it is thoughts. You cannot perceive the idea of future, without imagination, without thinking, imagining future, or thinking about thoughts, memories of past. So take away thoughts, and the now is the only thing that is left. And there is no judgment about now. No thoughts, so no judgment, no likes, dislikes. There is only what is. And from this what is, as I said, no judgment, because there is no thoughts in what is. The presence, the present moment, doesn't exist with thoughts. When there is thoughts, we're not in the presence. We're not present. We are in mind, thinking, probably about imagination or future or past or anything, you know. So this moment is free of judgment, of labels, even of the perception through the mind. It is perception of awareness. It is awareness, being aware of what is, not having the, perception as the mind is perceiving based upon its past, based upon its previous knowledge that it has been accumulating over time. So it is seeing the world through its own understanding, its own past, information. It knows that this color is called yellow, and this is good, and this is bad, and this is, wet, and this is dry. So it perceives the world through these concepts. But awareness doesn't have concepts. Awareness just is aware of everything without having to label it as good, bad, any quality, any shape or form. It just is. You can see the bird, you can feel the bird, you can hear the bird, but you don't need to have a name for the bird. You don't need to have a shape. You don't need to label it or judge it or anything. You're aware of the bird still, So awareness transcends the perception of mind. Awareness is higher than mind. So awareness is what I would like to call it true intelligence, the natural intelligence. We go to school and we learn a lot of things because we're made to, work in this system that has different, professions and so on. Not saying that is wrong, but awareness is like without learning anything, just being. And you have this intuition, you have this sense, you feel things, you feel other people, you get insights, you're aware of everything. You're not disturbed by concepts and thoughts of the world, but you're just in whatever is of the world. So you're living in the reality of the world. You're living in the reality of life. You're in tune with life. You're sensitive to life. You're content from this presence. You're content of life itself. You don't have to play games with the mind and trying to satisfy yourself with contrast experience and strong, sensations to feel satisfied for a while. But you're content always from within by being life itself. You're so in tune, you're so sensitive, you're so open and alive, like animals. Like, no animals are depressed. No animals go around and they're, even if they are captured in a fence, they are still happy. They're still satisfied naturally. Because contentment, it doesn't mean you have to laugh all the time. It's just if you feel good, you feel good. I'm healthy. I'm good. It's nice. You're satisfied. So this satisfaction it's an experience of mind. It's a concept. I don't like this. I want to be there. There's something wrong. I need something. There's something lacking. And yes, when you live through the mind as the person, there is something lacking. There is the presence lacking. The presence is there, but the mind is obscure. So when we transcend, when we leave the mind, when we choose presence, we're naturally always content for no reason, because that is life. Life is content. Life is peace, love, and joy. And when that is not, there is thoughts. There is thoughts obscuring the peace, the love, and the joy. There is no reason for peace, love, and joy. That is everything, always. So when there is not, be sure there is thoughts of something, future, past, your identity, your believed limitations, your believed needs and desires. I need this. There's something wrong with me. Who are you? Who is that image, that mental concept of yourself you believe is wrong? The mind has created an image, a person, a mental story, a projection of itself, and now it is judging itself, judging its own image. So the mind is fighting with itself. You know, you say, I love yourself. Who is loving who? Who is loving who? If you are going to love yourself, is there two you? No. So you're beyond both. You just are. There is nothing to define. Whatever you are trying to define is not you. It's a mere concept of something, you know, a temporary expression maybe, or whatever, you know. It's a temporary idea. But as you may have realized, everything is coming and going, you know. You cannot be defined in this way. You are beyond this mental idea. You are beyond the judgments, the ideas. You just are. And you don't have to try to, you can't label yourself. You want to know, but who am I then? What am I? You want to have a picture, you want to have a concept, you want to have, you want me to tell you this is who you are. Here you are. Because the mind is perceiving life this way, through these concepts, these images, these shapes and forms and names and all of this. So through these senses. So you want to be seen, you want to be able to grasp it. So you want to know, I am this, I'm good, I'm bad, even so that you choose to have a negative self-image even. Just to know that I am something, I'm this thing. I'm this quality, I'm this form and shape, and you know, I belong to this. But truly, when you meet people, and you say, I like this, I like meat, I eat meat, I like to run, I train a lot, I'm humorous, I am good at, you know, I work good with dogs, and I love to climb mountains, and you know, it's a mental story, you know, and you're spending your whole life in this mental story, trying to even keep it up, trying to you know, enhance it, and you know, develop it, and you know, to keep it running, you know. But for me, this is not who you are. This is obvious for me. I am not so, you know, you can tell me whatever you like, but I know your essence. I know what you actually are, and it is undefinable. I cannot tell you this is what you are, this little thing is who you are, or this quality, this emotion, this ability, this shape and form is who you are. I cannot tell you any shape or form. I cannot tell you through a concept, because words can only describe what the senses can perceive, and this you is beyond these mere concepts, these sensory perceptions. So when you say, I am this and that and this and that, for me it's obvious that it is changing, first of all. It is coming and going. 10 years ago, the story was different. And in 10 years from now, the story is different. So you can't be that. You have to be something else than that identity, that story. You know? But when you talk about it, I understand, you feel very identified with it. This is who you are. You identify with these mental stories. This is your identity. It's very complex, very strong conditioning. You have identified with this for your whole life. So I understand it is very dense, you know? It is not enough to just hear this once and then be like, yeah, I believe in that. But it is to be recognized and questioned over time. And for some people, it just actually also happens quite quickly, that we start to realize, wait, everything is thoughts, everything is thinking, and boom, we start to, unravel that there is more than the concept of a person with all its qualities and limitations. Because it's very limited to be a person. A person is very oftenly a very heavy story. It's oftenly, carrying around all these sorrows and limitations and things that happened, this past, all this, negativities, difficulties, fears. A person is oftenly based upon fear, the fear of getting hurt, failing, you know, in any area, relationships, things, poor, lack mentality, being afraid of losing money, or getting hurt, or something happens, or so it's a lot about like fear, actually, limitations. Like this is possible, this is not possible, I have to get this to get that. It's a very dense reality. So yeah, the mind is so busy with trying to find something, so it misses it misses the piece that is already. And I also find myself in this sometimes. My shift has been gradual, so it's more and more clear. I more and more choose my piece. I see through the trick of the mind to play, this ideas of me needing something or wanting something, and always going somewhere. And I'm oftenly more and more just recognizing that my peace, the stillness, is transcending all that. When I find myself in stillness, everything else, that story, that story, all of that is just gone. So it transcends all of it. I reach a place, so to speak, that is higher. It's like a new dimension, because the person doesn't exist anymore. That world and its work and how it works doesn't exist anymore. I have found something that is higher. And then, the mind comes in with its suggestions and, its old strong habits and ideas that we have lived through our whole lives, which is very strong habits, coming with suggestions like, oh, but you should do this, and oh, you maybe you need a relationship. You can, you have to be with someone. You have to be with people. You have to do this. You have to become something. You have to, you want that. You should go there and do this. And so in this shift, sometimes we leave our stillness just to go back into the more dense personal reality and experience these things, just to recognize that, wait, it's not as interesting anymore. It is not giving me that what I'm looking for. And we go back to stillness. And this path, this shift forth and back, can be quite, it takes some discernment, some power to know that, wait, there is a place, and I know I experienced something, and I'm gonna find it again, and we sit and we, somehow we find our stillness again, our emptiness, our being, our presence, and it's like, yeah, this is the place. Now I'm content. And forth and back, it can be a little bit like this. It's a play. So it takes some discernment, to choose. I'm going to go back there. I'm going to do it. Because the mind will tell you it's difficult, it's heavy, it's much more easy to just continue in the person, Forget about that, Just continue, play with me, is what the mind is saying to you. So you have to be strong. You have to choose, I know there's something. I have tasted it. I'm gonna continue to seek that. Whatever comes my way in this outer personal life, I'm gonna choose that. I'm gonna continue. Whatever happens in this world is just temporary experiences, Women's, cars, business, money, success, health, whatever, adventure, whatever it is, but it's still just temporary. And it is obscuring your opportunity that you have in this life to find that, to find yourself, to find that stillness, that emptiness, that presence. Because, yeah, let's say you are looking for yourself and you experience a little bit of that, and then you go back into playing life and chasing things and, all these amazing experiences. But when you have done them, they're gone. Because remember what I said, beyond the mind, it is just presence. Now, this moment, no future, no past. So what you just did, maybe you spent 1 year in these awesome things, experiences, but actually they are gone. In the presence, there is no past. So for you to experience what you just did this last year, this amazing stuff, you have to be in your memory and play with yourself and to repeat these stories of yourself and what you did and how amazing it was and how great you are. But when you're present, it doesn't exist. So from this place, it becomes very clear that what I'm doing in this life doesn't really matter so much in this way. When I become present, I realize that there is no past, there is no future, there is only what is. So what I did this last year, all this cool stuff, it doesn't really add to my presence, to my true self, to my truth, to what is actually real. So I'm mostly wasting my time, we could say, my opportunity to find out something that is not just temporary experience. There is something to find here that is beyond the play of the mind and the person and its perception and experiences, comings and goings. So this takes a very special, like, you know, like there's something that pulls you towards this from within. There is a special desire. Something knows within you that there is something that is more. There is something more important than this superficial play, temporary play. There is something, you know. So you choose to find out. You choose this presence. Because you know, otherwise you will just live a life and the body will go, and you know, you miss the chance. So this life is, it's like a very beautiful, it's a very beautiful game, and not to be rejected or judged. In presence, no judgment, no thinking. So nothing is right or wrong. It's a divine play, and everything is necessary. Everything is perfect as it is. You are just choosing whether you're gonna continue playing with the rest of the players in this world, going around and around in this play, in this video game, or if you're gonna transcend the game. So, some people may be very unconscious. They believe a lot in, they are so dense, they're so fixed in the outer reality, so that they are not ready to transcend yet. They are so dense in their personhood and their beliefs and their their stories, so that if you talked in this way, their ego would defend itself strongly, because the day the ego is accepting this stuff that I'm talking about, it also has to die. It also has to go itself. It has to leave its own beliefs, its own concept of life and world. So let's say I go to people and random people and talk about this, and you can just see that response, like, so the response is not because they know I'm wrong or right. It is just because there is something so strongly being triggered within them, because there's something that something within them knows that there is something to this. Something is afraid. So why this strong reaction to truth? Because it is the ego is trying to defend itself. The mind is living upon this story projection of itself, and your belief in it, your attention to it. So I'm questioning the life, the reality of the mind. So either you have to transcend, or you have to defend. And how ready you are chooses if you're gonna like open up to it and slowly have your path towards awakening and truth, or if you're gonna push it away and have 1,000 reasons why I'm wrong, and push it away and judge it and so on, and continue defending your game, your story, your play in this game. So yeah, that is a little insight of life. Life is beautiful, no matter if you're in the game or not, but of course it is way more enjoyable when you have transcended. Because being a person when you don't know anything else, you don't know anything else. But when you have transcended the person, you see the limitations and you know what you would like to have, what you would choose. Yes. Have a great day. Thank you. Can you see that I'm a little bit burnt? Not burnt, I'm just brown. I was sunning yesterday. Quite nice actually. No sunscreen. Only, natural.